Hello my learners, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing very well, and today I am back with another interesting topic of your science. So today we will be talking about water, the elixir of life. Yes, water is rightly called the elixir of life. That is because water is very important for our survival, for plants, for animals, for all the living beings. Now water is present in so many different forms. And we can get water in the underground, we can also get water in the purest form, which is the rainwater. And water is present in seas and oceans. Actually, 70% of Earth is covered with water. Yes. Now, there are many properties of water. So, let us discuss few of those. First being that water has no color, no taste and no shape absolutely. Secondly, water acts as a universal solvent. That is, water can dissolve so many things. Next, water can actually exist in all the three forms: solid, liquid and gas. Water exists in the form of ice as a solid, in the form of liquid as water, and also exists in the form of gas as water as steam. So, there's a freezing point and a boiling point of water. Now, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. And water actually can absorb a lot of heat. So, these are the few properties of water that makes water very crucial and important part. But, as we have discussed that rainwater is the purest form of water, but we also know that the humidity or the water vapors present in the air is actually polluted. Yes. So whenever the rainwater comes in contact with those water droplets present in the air, that water does not remain pure anymore. It gets contaminated. Also, we observe nowadays that the rivers and the seas are filled with pollutants and the water is no longer pure and no longer safe to drink. So today we will be learning that how can we purify water. So before that, first of all discuss about two types of impurities. First being soluble impurities and next being insoluble impurities. Now what are soluble impurities? For example, take a salt solution. Now salt can easily get dissolved into water, so it's completely soluble. Secondly, insoluble impurities, the impurities which does not get completely dissolved in water. Yes, for example, sand solution. Now whenever sand gets mixed in water, it does not completely dissolve into it. And we can actually purify the sand out of the water. So these are the two types of impurities. Now we will be discussing one by one as how we can purify water in the case of soluble impurities and in case of an insoluble impurities. So first of all, let us discuss how we can purify water and remove the insoluble impurities out of the water. Now there are few steps and few processes. So the first and the most common process is filtration. Yes, now what is filtration? As the name suggests, filtration is filtering out of the waste or the impurities out of the water and getting the pure water. And how we can do the filtration process is by taking a filter paper and physically taking the water, passing out the water from that filter paper, and what we are left with the impurities on the filter paper and the purest water we get. Secondly, we can also chemically treat water to remove the impurities. That is by activated charcoal. So these are the two common methods how we can filter out the impurities out of the water. Second process of purifying water is sedimentation. Yes, now sedimentation is a process in which whenever we take an insoluble impurities, that is, take an example of a sand solution. Now whenever we take a beaker and mix a sand into the water and we keep that container or the beaker still or idle for some time, now what happens? After some time, that impurity or that sand will settle down at the bottom of the beaker. So what we get on the top is the pure water. So this is the process of settling down of the impurities is called sedimentation. Now that pure water collected on the top can be actually transferred to another beaker to get the pure water. Now this process of transferring the water into the other beaker is called decantation. So these are the processes of purifying water from the insoluble impurities. So now we will be talking about how we can remove the soluble impurities out of the water. So there are two steps or the methods that we will be discussing. The first method is evaporation. Now, it is the method or the process of changing the liquid into its vapors by giving it heat. This is called evaporation. Now what happens is, whenever we give heat, the external heat to the liquid, the water gets evaporated and turns into vapors, and what we are left with the complete impurity besides. So this is the method of evaporation. The second method is called distillation. This is also a method of changing the liquid into its vapors, but there is a bit of a twist and difference in this method. The difference is that whenever the liquid turns into vapors, then those vapors are actually passed into a condenser. Now what does the condenser do? The condenser actually condensifies the vapors back into the water. This process is called condensation. Now the water, after turning back into the vapors turning back into the water, gets transferred into another beaker, and the water that we get is the distilled water. So that distilled water can actually be used in laboratories, by the doctors, in the batteries, in so many different ways for preparing the medicines. But that also is not absolutely pure and safe for drinking. So these are the two methods, distillation and evaporation, on how we can remove the soluble impurities out of it. Now, lastly, I want to discuss about a very easy day-to-day method of purifying water that we actually keep on doing at our home. Now, how we can purify water at our home? The first and the foremost thing is boiling the water. Yes. Now, boiling of the water actually kills the germs out of it. So this is the best method of purifying water at your home. Secondly, we also have nowadays water purifiers at our home. That water purifiers actually purifies and takes out any sort of impurity out of the water. Before coming into our taps, it is being treated in the water treatment plants and then kept in the reservoir and then chlorinated to kill any sort of germs, and then that water comes into our house. But definitely, if we want to get it in most purest form, we boil it either, or we purify it using the water purifiers. So this lesson was all about water, the properties of water, the impurities, and how we can purify water out of the soluble and insoluble impurities. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. You have learned a lot about the water. And now I hope you must be aware that how important is water for us. So we all should preserve it, do not waste it much. And whatever little water that we have, we should use it cautiously. So this is all about your today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Do comment me, like this video, and we will meet next time for another interesting topic. Bye for now.